You know, the thing about the military, especially when you mix the Army's best shooters with Navy SEAL candidates, is the ego. It hangs in the air thicker than gunpowder smoke, I swear. And it was thick that week at Camp Ironclad, this miserable, dusty training base out in Nevada. We were all there for the Joint Precision Marksmanship evaluation, and everyone was looking to see who the Army brought out to run the long-range phase. We expected some grizzled, salty master sergeant, right? A guy who chews broken glass and spits out wisdom. Instead, they walked in Sergeant Alexia Lex Vance. Now, Alexia was maybe 5'5", quiet, moved like she was floating, and kept her faded baseball cap pulled so low you mostly just saw the shine of her mirrored shooting glasses. But the first thing anyone noticed, the thing that started the whole mess, was the tattoo. It wasn't some big, sprawling patriotic thing, no eagle or flag. It was tiny. Just a faint trace of black ink curving along the base of her neck, right where her collarbone met the spine. Small, precise numbers, coordinates. The whispers started immediately, of course. "We're just overgrown boys, what do you expect?" Staff Sergeant Riggs Rigetti, a ranger who loved his own voice, leans over to me, loud enough for her to hear naturally, and says, "Check it out, man. Bet you those are the GPS coordinates for the nearest Sephora?" His buddy laughs. "Nah, gotta be where her secret stash of diet soda is. She looks like she lives on the stuff." The chuckles spread. Even the instructors cracked a smile, the kind of casual, lazy disrespect that just settles in like the dust. Lexia didn't even flinch. She just kept walking, steady, adjusting her rifle sling, eyes focused on the line of steel targets 1,000 yards away, like we were all just shadows in her peripheral vision. Up in the glass observation tower, watching the whole thing, was Commander Damon Cole, a SEAL team leader flown in specifically to oversee his guys. Cole was mid-40s, built like granite, and he had that classic coiled intensity. I remember seeing him frown, just a quick flicker of doubt. A sergeant running his guy's evaluation? It was written all over his face. He hadn't said anything in the briefing room, but I knew the question sitting at the back of his mind. What did higher command think they were doing? He doubted her rank, and honestly, he probably doubted that little bit of ink, too. Lexia was 35. A decade older than most of the recruits, and she moved with this kind of quiet balance, the gait of someone who'd carried more than just a pack over too many miles. She'd been a combat sniper. Her call sign was Astra 9, a name that meant nothing to these rookies, but it used to get whispered in certain briefing rooms back when the fighting was hot. To them, she was just Mystery Map, or the Tattoo Girl. The real conflict began when the shooting started, or failed to start, really. One young SEAL candidate, nerves shot, was shaking so badly his magazine rattled. He put 3 rounds wildly into the berm. Riggs, naturally, shook his head dramatically. "He keeps shooting that wide. He's going to hit the goddamn parking lot." Lexia walked over. She didn't look at Riggs. She just knelt beside the failing recruit, boots crunching on spent brass. "Grip," she said quietly. "Breath, trigger. 3 words. No lecture, no raised voice." She shifted his hand just a fraction, rolled his shoulder forward, and placed 2 gloved fingers gently against his ribs. "Breathe with these. Don't fight them," the kid sighted in. The noise dimmed in his ears, narrowed down to the lift of his chest and the weight of her hand. He squeezed. Crack! A deep, clear clang rang out from the steel plate. A perfect hit. There was this collective, sharp intake of breath. Then Riggs forced a laugh. "Fluke! Even a broken clock is right twice a day." Lexia didn't even acknowledge them. She just rose and walked to the next station. That was her style. Correct the error, ignore the ego. Cole saw it, though. He watched her through his spotting scope, tracking her tiny, precise corrections. A barrel tap here, a cheek weld adjustment there, and the instant improvement that followed. He filed it away, but he was still skeptical, which is probably why he called her up to the tower and basically dismissed her. "You can observe from up top, Sergeant. Let the men handle the range." A polite dismissal. She went up, of course. She called corrections over the radio. "Shooter 3, adjust 1 click left. Shooter 6, hold a 1/2 mil high." But down below, they ignored her. Cole even grabbed his mic, his voice light, almost mocking. "We'll get it, Sergeant. You just keep watching. Their shots scattered wide." By sunset, the targets were untouched. Riggs finally slammed his rifle down, frustration boiling over. Maybe next time we let the tattoo girl shoot. The line erupted in relief laughter. Lexia descended the tower steps. She didn't speak, didn't look at anyone. She just walked to Riggs' abandoned rifle, knelt, checked the chamber, and sighted in. The whole range held its breath. Squeeze. A single sharp crack split the silence. Half a mile away, that steel plate sang, a deep, resonant clang that echoed across the hills. She stood up, set the rifle down gently beside Riggs, and looked at him once, expressionless. Cole's jaw was tight. "Lucky shot," he called out, loud enough for the shame to spread. Lexia didn't even break stride as she walked toward the gear table. "Wind doesn't do luck, sir." That night, things escalated. The mess tent was buzzing, and Riggs and his crew were scrolling through old black-and-white photos of female snipers on the projector. It was just a series of careless jabs. "Look at this Soviet chick," one guy joked. Guess history repeats itself. The room laughed, loud and mean. Lexia was eating alone at a back table. She didn't look up. But my own boss, Captain Mac McMillan, stopped by her table. He glanced at the projector screen, then back at her. "You good, Alexia?" She finally looked up, her voice quiet. "I've seen worse, sir." Mac simply nodded, a tight, knowing look in his eyes that made me think he knew the whole story. Maybe he did. As Lexia left the tent, the screen clicked to the next slide. A woman sniper crouched behind rubble, face half hidden. For a millisecond, the angle, the faint scar near the jawline. It was her. But the slide changed, and the laughter started again before anyone made the connection. Image. Dark storm clouds gathering over the base. Rain starting the next morning. The rumors began, fueled by Mac's deliberate, sharp salute to a sergeant. Then the link came. Lexia was seen at the base memorial wall in the rain. She was tracing a name, Corporal Ethan Vance, same last name as her boss, the captain. And later, the coordinates on her neck were confirmed to match the location tied to the Astra 9 Fallujah file hidden deep in the Armory archive. Ethan was her brother. The tattoo was the place he fell. But the real crucible, the cinematic moment, came on the last day, during the live fire stress simulation. A sudden violent thunderstorm rolled in. We were running the drill anyway. Combat doesn't reschedule, right? Then lightning struck close, a blinding flash followed by a soul-shattering crack. One of our guys, a tough infantry veteran named Perez, froze. He didn't hear thunder. He heard an IED. His rifle dropped. He hit the dirt, hands over his head, gasping, "Incoming! Incoming!" Over and over, the radios erupted. Shooters were flinching. Muzzles were swinging wide. The chaos we simulated had become dangerously real. Cole was barking into his headset trying to regain control, but the panic was too fast. Lexia saw it all at once, the eyes losing focus, the fingers tightening on triggers. Something inside her settled. She stepped forward into the downpour, lifted her headset mic, and let the voice of Astra 9 take over. "All stations, this is Vance. Cease fire. Repeat. Cease fire. Safety's on. Muzzles down. Instructors confirm." There was something in that voice, not volume, but pure, tested, absolute authority. The kind of authority you only earn by being obeyed under skies full of real metal. The gunfire stopped, stuttered, and died. She moved straight toward Perez, dropping to a knee beside him in the mud. "Perez, you are at Camp Ironclad. You are in training. There is no incoming. Look at me. He was hyperventilating." Rain ran down his face. She grabbed his wrist, grounding him. "Count my fingers. One breath for each. In, out. You are here. You are not over there. Hear the rain. Smell the dirt. Stay with it." She pulled him back from the edge. Then she noticed a name was missing. A nervous young recruit was gone. "Where is Foster?" Cole started. "We'll send a team. By the time you assemble one, he'll be gone," she said, already securing her rifle. Lightning plus live fire plus old memories is a bad equation. "I know how they think when it hits like that." She didn't wait. She disappeared into the driving rain, moving low and fast. She found Foster huddled behind a berm, eyes squeezed shut. She talked him down, took hold of his harness, and began hauling him back. I saw it through the fogged tower glass, one small figure drenched, dragging another through the storm, refusing to let him fall. When they returned, there were no jokes. Just silence. Later, in the gear room, Riggs saw the pale, irregular scarring along her forearm as she peeled off her soaked uniform, the clustered, angry marks of shrapnel. That's shrapnel, isn't it? He whispered. She glanced at the scars, then at him. Old business, Staff Sergeant. Focus on what's in your hands. The word tattoo girl died in his throat. The final day, the air was clear, but heavy with expectation. Everyone knew something. Then Admiral Thorne, the Pacific Fleet commander, arrived without warning. Cole was shooting, trying to impress the Admiral. He lined up his custom rifle, drew a breath, and... click! Jammed! Sand fouled the action. He fumbled, sweating, his image crumbling under the Admiral's gaze. Lexia moved. She vaulted down the tower steps, took the rifle from his paralyzed hands, cleared the jam in one practiced movement, shouldered it, and for the first time all week, she pulled her cap and hood down. The light hit her face full on. She sighted in. Crack! A clean, clear clang from 1,000 yards. Admiral Thorne froze. His hand dropped from his chest. His voice was a bare whisper. Astra 9. The name hit the range like a shockwave. The Admiral stepped forward, his tone breaking between disbelief and reverence. You were the one who held the ridgeline at Kark, Sergeant. You were the one who bought them the time. Every sound died. Cole, who had spent the week doubting, dismissing, and underestimating her, finally understood. Astra 9 wasn't a legend. She was standing right in front of him. The Admiral, fleet commander, snapped to attention and saluted the sergeant. Cole's hand flew to his own brow, following suit. Riggs, the man who had mocked her relentlessly, stood rigid, his hand trembling slightly as he saluted. The Admiral spoke, his voice roughened by memory. You all laughed at that tattoo, didn't you? Those coordinates, they're not decoration. They marked the spot where half a company made it home because of her. Because Astra 9 didn't walk away when everyone else was gone. He paused, looking at the assembled soldiers. Remember that next time you think quiet means weak. The strongest voices on the battlefield aren't always the loudest. Lexia, uncomfortable with the praise, simply adjusted her rifle. Let's finish the course, she said. The line reset. Wind left to right 8 meters an hour. This time, every voice answered in unison, Copy! Not one correction was ignored. Later, Cole waited for her. You could have told us who you were. She met his eyes finally, without tension. Would it have changed how you listened? He had no answer for that. He just nodded sharply. Riggs approached, his face pale with humility. Sergeant, we were out of line. I was out of line. Lexia studied him, then gave a faint nod. Just learn from it, Staff Sergeant. That's what the job's for. As the sun dipped, she walked toward the firing line one last time. She paused by the flagpole, the wind lifting her cap. She touched the ink at her neck. It wasn't a scar anymore. It wasn't a mark of grief. It was a memory. The coordinates of survival. She never asked for recognition. She simply showed up, did the work, and reminded everyone that courage doesn't need an announcement because real strength isn't loud. It's steady. It's the quiet decision to stand when no one's watching, to lead when others doubt, and to keep walking long after the noise fades. So tell me, what do you think of Commander Cole's reaction? Should Lexia have just told them who she was right away to gain respect, or did she earn it the right way, by proving them wrong? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story about quiet courage, hit that like button and subscribe for more veteran stories. We'll see you next time.